It's as Gabriel is solemnly led away, bundled into the back of a Iron Hook prisoner transport, and with a clatter of hooves on cobblestones as the horses pull away, he disappears into the fog and perpetual night for some time at least. But Masa, and what has Omen been up to?
Professor Cornelius van Draak has been dealing with the exam period at university. It was hell. Preparing papers, grading papers, people complaining that they weren't marked correctly, blah 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 blah. And obviously the parents or patrons or students coming to just something. Because they clearly know more than the actual professor.
Okay, and it's as you sit there in your office late one night, a stack of papers looming over you, that your attention is suddenly you realise that you have some company as the door clicks open, and Lottie.
Really suffered.
You see the Professor Van Draak just lost in a sort of caught in a moment, which seems to be for him probably lasting a lot longer than he would like it to.
Do you need a break?
From a dreadful. The moment she says break, yes. Tell me.
Lottie, would you like to fill in Cornelius as to what's happened while he's been caught up in his academic obligations?
Things went very wrong lately. We got involved with that witch, and she was super creepy, and we tried to retrieve something for her, but it kind of worked out, but didn't work out. And now Gabrielle is in prison. And I'm basically filling him with a sort of patchwork version of what happened.
So, sorry.
My only comment is you clearly had a worse week than me.
I don't know. Did you had any problems with your new friend the ghost?
Goes up sometimes. At least I scare parents that would come to annoy me. Tell them that they are now cursed, be forever followed, and then they run and then. Actually, where is the ghost right now? What has he been doing?
It's occasionally. It's more that it's. You see the effects of it more than you see the ghost itself. Things get moved, often broken. There's been a couple of times when you've been awoken in the very early of the hours of the morning with a a deathly chill almost gripping you, which lasts for a few seconds before disappearing. And in that sort of slight grogginess of being disturbed, you haven't been able to see it actually manifested. But its effects are certainly noticeable, if not inconvenient.
Probably after the exam period, I will get rid of him. And I look around, waiting for any reaction. No? Okay, good.
Nothing. Meanwhile, across Dosfol, and as almost coinciding with the rapping of a gavel on the podium of a magistrate, as Gabriel is sent down, and his sentence at Iron Hook is added to the record, and as he's led away, we get where is Nathan currently going to be? Where's home for him?
Home for Nathan is, quite frankly, to be determined at a later date. Nathan would probably be in Barrowcleft, however.
Okay.
Sort of in the orbit of Averick's operations in Barrowcleft.
It's a underground, a sunken basement from the street level, and which the building itself overlooks the many radiant energy farms, but underneath that, and in the cold, slightly damp basement that Averick operates out of, itself kind of set up with a few old couches and screens, where a few individuals, some more regular than others, can often be seen either sleeping off the effects or engaged in rather inane and constant stream of consciousness conversations. And
Now,
it's
a note for any of the viewers and probably for the people here, just to confirm, Averick was the one at the very tail end of season 1, was he not?
might well have been, I think so, yes.
Okay.
A powder dealer moonlighting powder dealer who during the day can be found, like many of the residents of Barrowcleft, tending the fields and appearing as legitimate as anybody ever really does in Duskfall. And yes, could you give us a description of Nathan, please?
Yes. He's of a very slender build. Dark skin, though one can't really be 100% certain, especially with his vagrancy. Let's put it politely here. You can't be 100% certain if his skin's actually that color or if it's just a certain level of grime. On closer inspection, you can tell it's a little bit of both. He keeps his head completely shaven all the way down. Slightly foreign features. You would probably place him for the Dagger Isles, but there are other features that make him of questionable heritage.
And
His clothes are what you would assume a professional might actually wear, though. While his skin is dirty, his clothes, while also dirty, do have a certain design to them as if they were meant to be used in a professional nature. Even his coat is not the usual materials. It's more of a cloth material and may at one point have been some version of a color associating itself to white.
And as you leave, so still clenching your jaw a little bit, make your way down Black Hill Road, up Black Hill Road to the north, where you begin to make your way into north and into Silkshore. And it's as you begin to traverse that route, you're aware of two figures making their way in after you. Neither of them look to be Averick's usual clientele.
So wait, I'm going into Silkshore and then Averick's clientele's following me? Wait.
No. Sorry, that's the direction you're going, towards Silkshore. You're still just outside Averick's.
Oh, okay.
And as you leave and begin to head north towards Silkshore, two figures make their way and go down the flagstone steps. And like I said, they don't look to be Averick's usual clientele.
What do they look like?
One man, one woman. The man's shorter, but very, very kind of heavy set build. The woman is much more kind of lithe, but incredibly spry and muscular. Almost kind of the build of a what would usually be a very kind of peak level athlete. Both of them in something of a heavy eel skin leathers, but both of them dressed predominantly in black.
It kind of looks like that they might be going there for trouble, doesn't it?
Certainly does, yes.
Nathan's gonna kind of shake his head, make a few clicking noises with his tongue, somewhat disapprovingly. He doesn't necessarily... There is an innate sense that he wants to be there if there is trouble that goes down to help. But there's also... He's not really in the mood to get shot either. If stuff were to go down.
It's as you're aware that as you make those clicking noises, it's the woman who gives you a rather ominous side eye and maintains that eye contact, but doesn't stop walking.
Nathan kind of throws his hands up and backs away until he's out of eye shot of her.
They continue and make their way down. They go down the steps and going in, just leaving the old, slightly warped and misshapen wooden door open.
Giving them a few moments to make sure they've kind of cleared the first, what I would, being familiar with this location, wait for them to clear the first room, so to speak, before going down. Giving them the mental amount of time it should take them, given their pace, etc.
Yeah. As they go in, you see them make their way, and they talk to Averick, who himself was sat in a old but comfortable armchair, and he's been forcibly lifted out by the guy, and taking a little bit of cover behind one of the screens, which itself is somewhat a Dagger Isles type design. So there's points where it's been kind of crafted, and there's little gaps in it so you can see through. But you see it's the woman that does the majority of the talking, as she kind of paces around, as Averick's kind of been pinned up at the wall, and she's pacing backwards and forwards in a semicircle in front of him. And we agreed, if you were going to operate out of here, that we would get our cut. Well, the cut's gone up. You know that. And now you're not delivering. You've got 24 hours. Otherwise, well, it's amazing how many fires can be started at the same time. You ever seen what happens to a human body when it ignites? The eyeballs pop. Sometimes they melt. Think about that. And she gives him a slaps him twice on the side of the face, lightly. 24 hours. Jerks her head back towards the door, indicator, and he's released. And as they walk past you, Nathan, you kind of fall back and go into the sort of put your head back a little bit to fit in with some of the others in there that sleeping off the worst. And you're aware as they go past you, put your head back up, you're aware of Averick, who sits back down, straightens his lapel out, and you can hear him breathing heavily. You can almost hear his heart racing at this point.
Nathan's just gonna actually push back the curtain after, once again, giving them ample time. And I'm gonna turn and head straight to Averick's office. I don't care if I'm allowed back there or not, honestly.
It's not an office. It's not a formal business. He's selling powder. It's literally just this one kind of green partitioned room. He's got, and like I say, he's got his old favourite chair, which is pretty much his spot.
Bit of trouble I heard there. And then you hear him kind of clear his voice. Is there anything I can help with?
I was paying money flows up. I was paying what everything's worth. You know, what was fair. And then suddenly it's gone up, bam, 6 coin. Oh, every week. I haven't got that sauce. I haven't got that kind of scratch. No one around here does.
Who's it flowing up to?
Well, they collect, but guessing you're not particularly familiar with the gangs, it seems.
Nathan kind of gives a shake of his head. And then speaks to elaborate. I mean, thugs all kind of look the same at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, those two, they're, well, I suppose you could call them crows, but they're not exactly, they're not exactly a unified outfit, let's just say. About, and he's settling down. His breathing begins to return to normal. It was about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when Lissa took over, and well, runs it now, but she took it over from a previous leader, a guy called by the name of Rorik. Now, No points for guessing how she managed to get the job. Dead man's boots, so to speak, especially if you speed up the process. But there's a few of the crows that stay a little bit loyal to Rorik himself. So while they go along with this, let's just say they're not exactly unified.
Nathan kind of nods. And just kind of gives a look and goes, I mean, this day and age, what group is unified?
Well, it's everyone's out for themselves. But yeah, let's be honest, somewhat have to be, don't you?
I suppose. Anyways, so you need 6 coin. Or 6 more coin, to be precise.
Well, I need 5 coins to be precise. I had something going over. I thought it would be. I mean, it's gone up and up every week. They're asking for more. I had something left over, but I've gone through that.
Well, he kind of turns out his pockets and shows that he's legitimately broke. For right now, he's like, I can't really be of much help to you at this time. But it'd be an awful shame to have you go under. Especially to thugs like that. I'll see what I can do to help you. I can't promise much. You know, nobody's exactly looking for a physiker without a license, so to speak.
I appreciate it. You're one of the good ones, you know that, right?
That joke never gets old.
Hey, you're willing to help me out. I know I'm not exactly the most legitimate, but appreciate the thought.
He pauses for a moment. Did you hear that they got one of those gang leaders in jail? Or at least that's what the Dawn translates to, right? Is boss or something like that?
I don't know. That's charter hall business as far as I'm concerned. Bosses go in, they run their own thing in prison, they come back out. Others go in. It's a revolving door, isn't it? Nothing ever changes.
Nathan kind of pauses for a moment. He did have one other. They did mention his real name. It seems like he doesn't use his moniker all that much. His name was Gabriel. You ever hear of him?
Yeah. A little while back, I had a run-in with someone like that.
You know who he was running with?
Yeah, well, I think that particular outfit disbanded, and they went off, did their own thing in the end. There's one of them still around, up in Crowsfoot. Tasharosi fella, 4 eyes. Not literally 4 eyes. I don't just mean he wears glasses.
I was gonna say, I was gonna get a little offended, and he removes from his pocket a pair of... What are... They're glasses. However, you're not sure how well they're going to help his vision because of how many cracks there are.
There's yeah. Well, like I say, last I heard it was in Crowsfoot.
Nathan kind of gives a shrug. I'll ask around. Might be good to have friends in that neighborhood. It might help deal with this little situation.
And taking your leave and making your way over to Crowsfoot, asking a few questions. It's only a matter of time before you're stopped, and not by somebody you would assume to be the standard resident, a very well turned out and well presented, almost academic sort, in a hat with a pipe in one hand. Omen, this farmer, but in a suit very unsuitable for any kind of physical labor, seems to be know a lot about your outfit, but is also asking around.
When I see him, the first thought is presence. But then that is the way I have greetings. I see that you looking around in this area, looking for someone.
More apt to say someone's. A group of individuals associated with the recent inmate in Iron Hook.
Yeah, I've heard. Which reason?
I have, let's just say, a bit of a personal matter that needs to be attended to, and I am in need of a little bit more coin than I currently am in possession of, and well, when one goes in, that usually means one, there's an opening, and two, there's a chance for money.
My mind goes to, oh, well, yeah, that actually makes sense. Because Omen has no idea how criminal life works. Yeah, that probably, in my mind, is, yeah, that probably checks out. Well, mysterious stranger who needs money. We're going in the same direction. Let's walk.
What should I call you? Because mysterious stranger doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue.
I use Omen because it sounds interesting when I thought of it.
Fester, and he reaches out his hand.
So,
And he's gonna just follow you. He's gonna keep somewhat of a distance in case you try to, like, take him into an alley and mug him, but he's following you.
Seems very unlikely that this of everyone that you pass by in the streets of Crowsfoot, of all of them, this guy seems like the least likely to actually mug you as you as you walk through the you're fully aware that as you glance down an alley, you see three figures just wailing on someone else with two bluecoats who pass by in the opposite direction just look down and decide use their better judgment not to get involved.
I mean, yes, Omen there presents himself as a noble, but Nathan, it could just be part of an elaborate con. For all Nathan's concerned right now, so he's still got to keep his distance. He knows better, to an extent.
And where are you gonna? Where would you like to go?
Not to our hideout because our government doesn't consider it his. It's just there sometimes. I'd say somewhere close enough.
There's a couple of
Somewhat that can be seen from the hideout, so that I can attract whoever's inside attention. Then they come.
Over the street and on the second floor of is a functional and somewhat comfortable tea house.
Right there.
And as you're able to walk past, you're aware of sort of, without making it too obvious, glancing up, you're aware that somebody is in, at least, as the lights on that second story hideout are on. And Lottie, you see Omen on the street below just glancing out the window with someone else who you don't recognize. And they turn left, going into the tea house, and the two of you make your way up to the the next floor up, which is kind of mezzanine level that overlooks the main floor. And you settle into a small corner, quiet corner where you can discuss business.
So,
Lottie,
go
I was
ahead.
going to say, Lottie, would you like to join them?
Omen make a sign or anything that could mean that he wants.
I see a shape inside, yes.
Going to follow them at a reasonable distance and.
Absolutely. So yeah, going in and you're aware of people coming and going and taking seats and having a drink. And there's a couple who stand up from their table and take their leave, and a young woman comes in and sits down at a nearby table. So Lottie, you can hear the conversation, but you're not revealing your involvement just yet.
As Nathan kind of sits, Omen would probably notice, since it's been maybe a little bit, Nathan is kind of you can tell he's probably not even aware he's doing it, but he is constantly fidgeting with the bottom part of his nose, rubbing it. Sometimes he'll occasionally rub the bridge of it, but it's more just absent-minded. He's, doing stuff like this, essentially. And as soon as the tea comes by, just curious, does this tea shop bring it pre-brewed, or do they give you the leaves and you brew it yourself, so to speak?
Leaves? No, it's mushrooms.
Either way.
It's pre-made. There's nothing particularly fancy about this place.
He kind of sighs as they bring the pre-made tea, and he just goes,
Few of us sighs because I also been here before, and every time I complain that it's not done properly.
and I'm just like, they couldn't even bring the bag, or the mushrooms, whatever. I'm assuming this place is mushrooms here.
It's the server who's a solid, I think it's fair to say, Scotlander. Who's well, la-di-da, your majesty, sort of does that mock backing away. You don't like it, stop coming in. He goes back down.
Too lazy to go somewhere else. This area.
I know. This voice just echoes from the lower levels.
The fact that you're the best one doesn't mean that you can not improve this area. Yes, you're the best. Try to get better.
I will not repeat his response to that.
So, and you see Nathan's actually making a concerted effort, like any tiny bits of the mushrooms, like he's picking out of the tea, like any parts that made it through the brewer, whatever they use.
Yeah,
he's
they've
picking
sort of
them
floated on the
out,
surface.
and he's wrapping them up. He wraps them up in like whatever they call a napkin here, and places it in his coat. And he notices the look on Omen's face, and he just goes, "They have some medicinal purposes. I don't have the coin, unfortunately, to buy them fresh and unsoiled as this, but they're still at least somewhat useful when infused with the proper amounts of blood."
I was going to say, oh, a doctor. This is what actually I want to say. I was going to say, oh, a doctor, until you went with, when you infuse them with blood.
Oh no, that's pretty
That was the
standard.
summon.
That's pretty standard for physicers. They demon blood does everything.
Then I say numbers. Then I will just, oh, a doctor. This is interesting. Doesn't healing people pay enough? I'm pretty sure the city has its pretty high number of wounded daily,
Oh,
hourly.
oh,
There's someone nearly dying over there right now.
yes. Let's say... Kind of pauses for a moment as he picks his words here. My particular school of thought is not the same as most other physicers. It's why I'm legally not allowed to practice anymore. Well, demon blood is generally the gold standard, if you will. I may use other types of blood as well. You would be surprised of the things that you can learn through alchemical infusions and the like. Also, when you start playing with the ghost field, some things get a little interesting as well. There's other manipulations you can do that you couldn't do without.
I do know. Yes, I do know manipulation.
And with that, would you like to fill Omen in, and by proxy, Lottie, as to the nature of your current situation?
Now that
Because I'll be pretty direct and so now you tell me everything you want to tell those fine people, for I will decide that those fine people will know. I'm going full aristocrat, does whatever he wants, because the law says he can.
And yeah, Nathan would go ahead and divulge the important details. I mean, he doesn't know Omen from Jack, so to speak, so he is going to keep some stuff close to his chest, but he is going to explain the situation enough that somebody could make a decision based off of it.
Absolutely. And as you fill in the details, a plan begins to come to mind.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Blades in the Dark, What Happens in the Dusk, part of the Domain Gaming, written and told by Wyverian and Livespark. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, remember the first rule of a con. Offer them everything for nothing, and give them nothing for everything.